Right, so we're going to talk today then about not so much just leadership styles, but I'm interested in the personality of a company.
Fundamentally talking about the ways that people work, the ways that people communicate, the ways that people lead, which has a huge impact on the ways that people work. So
a lot of smaller entrepreneur-led companies are led by red, either pure reds, red blues or red yellows. They're on the red side of the colour wheel.
I think green is very important. People are obviously important. Relationships in business is very important. Within the company, you've got to look after people.
Question then is, am I expecting other people to just adapt to me, or have I got to try harder to adapt to them? Morning, Mr. Buckle.
Morning. Back again.
Here we are.
Back in the saddle.
Last week, you mentioned a dad joke. You mentioned about having dad jokes, but you didn't have one. And I've been waiting all week to wonder whether you'd be able to dredge one up.
Well, I did find one earlier this week. So here we go.
Go on then. Stand by. For those listeners that are a bit sensitive, they can turn
maybe
off for 10
turn
seconds.
off this. 10 seconds. Come back. Come back. So what do you call a half Iranian, half Russian fireman?
Oh, that's very topical. Political dad jokes. Half Iranian, half Russian fireman.
So what do you call a half Iranian, half Russian fireman? Amir Panikova.
Okay. That was one of your better ones. I was fearing
You were just on the edge there going, oh my goodness.
My goodness, we're going to get some sort of Trump faux pas. I'm not careful. What's he going to say?
I saw that on Instagram. It's not mine. I saw it on Instagram. I thought, that's funny. Yeah. I like it.
Okay, very good.
Clever.
I'm impressed. So what's happened this week? Got anything interesting in the post?
I did, actually. I did.
I was wondering if you brought it in to wave it in front of the camera.
I have brought it in, actually, because it's not often I get mail.
You got mail?
So when I do, it's very, very exciting. So I got a rather large envelope arrive with my name handwritten on it. I thought, oh my goodness.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Well, at first I thought, what have I done?
It's a summons.
yeah. But to my delight, and it rekindled feelings of childhood nostalgia, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah,
I got a World Cup 26. What do we call it? Wall chart.
To put the winners on each group game and each of the knockout rounds.
Very well-regarded company, Bonham and Turner, a client of ours.
Thank you very much for the people at Bonham.
They've put that in. And it did make me think, this is the sort of thing I would have blue tacked to my wall as a child.
Filled it in as you went along.
So it rekindled the childhood nostalgia, but also it got me thinking about the World Cup. We're obviously big football people here.
Known for not being fans.
But, however, do take an interest in things like the World Cup. And
that's the national side, isn't it? Whether it's cricket, rugby, football, curling.
And start thinking about, the office sweepstake and how that's going to work.
But what I was impressed when you showed me it, what a great way of getting your brand out there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be on the wall long enough that it just becomes invisible and part of the furniture. Yeah. It's an event that lasts, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And your name's going to be on the wall.
And we've spoken about this sort of direct mail marketing before. And we've done a bit of it ourselves. But it's great because you open it up, it's out on the desk, everyone's having a look at what teams are in. And
who sent us that?
Who sent it? And then
I guess because we've got an interest in marketing ideas, that immediately struck that conversation. And everybody's thinking, oh, well, I've got that. We could do a double-sided one. We could do this one. How much do they cost to print?
So yeah, good effort to the marketing team at Bonham and Turner.
Well done. Give them a good shout out there. And I guess if other companies are listening, you've still got a bit of time. What is it now? It's what's the date today?
The date today is the 7th of May.
7th of May. So we've got just over a month until the World Cup starts, which is about your birthday, isn't it? Yes. Look at your wall chart, Rich.
Consult the chart because it actually has the dates on it. So
who opens up? Is it America because they're the hosts, or Mexico maybe?
Mexico, America. I think it looks like the 28th of June.
Yeah, that's the first group, the knockout games, surely.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Come on. It's early June. It's about 10th of June, something like that.
Is it? Which isn't my birthday, by the way. So
no, just if anybody was going to write in.
Anyone was going to steal my identity.
We weren't giving out your national insurance number. No. Okay, good. So excellent idea there for marketing. We'll think of something to better that.
Yes, I know.
We decided football wasn't really our vibe.
It's got the so stand by for Six Nations wall chart, which would be a bit skinny, wouldn't it? Really, it would be a kind of small
event. You look forward to it.
Yeah.
Tie it in with the office sweepstake idea, like you said. Why not? All right, we'll have a think about that. Thank you very much. Should we do a podcast?
Yep.
Hello and welcome again to the SME Growth Podcast from Wellmeadow. Every week we try and come up with something useful or interesting for owners and managers of small and medium-sized businesses. And here we are, no exception this week. It's back to me and Rich again. And a flurry of guests. I wonder what the collective noun for guests is. An invite of guests.
An invite, I like it. I like that. An invite
of
guests.
So we had a flurry of guests recently, but the last few it's been back to me and Rich again. And we are trying to pick topics each week that sort of have some sort of link to what we've done before. And the link to this one was, I think Meg pointed out, we did that episode on hands-on management versus hands-off management, and one is more appropriate in some and some pros and cons. And we mentioned a few famous people as examples. So we thought we'd maybe try and extend that theme a little bit and talk a bit more about that. So today we're talking about personalities of leaders and how it affects the personality of the company.
Indeed.
So what episode did you say we're on?
171.
171. Now we've run out of darts finishes. So we're going to have to think of another theme to tie into the number. I haven't thought of one yet. I did, however, read on the news this morning that there's some American politician been charged with endangering the life of the president for taking a photo of some seashells on the beach, writing out the number 8647,
right?
Apparently. And apparently that's a threat to President Trump. Because 86 in American slang means to kill off or destroy, apparently. So I had to look that up. And 47 is his 47th president. So apparently that has been interpreted. How would you believe that?
Wow.
8647. So then I started looking up the origins of 86 and why is that, and then all other numbers. And I thought, is there one for 171?
Should we expect a visit from the
if we say the wrong thing,
American Secret
Department
Service
of Homeland Security. I knock on the door.
Knock on the door.
Said your episode number meant something in American slang.
Yeah.
But it turns out there aren't many high numbers.
Your search history is probably now quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it will be.
Join me.
Looking up that.
Join me on the watch list.
So, okay, 171. So in time-honoured fashion, how did we get here? What's the last three?
168 was the Worker Protection Act. What employers need to know with Andrea Miller.
Thank you again, Andrea, for coming in and talking us through that. Hopefully that was a wake-up call to business owners just to be more proactive rather than reactive in your processes.
And then 169 is your business sleepwalking into a crisis without realising.
Yeah, that was lead indicators we talked about, that, wasn't it? Do we look far enough up the funnel, especially thinking in our HubSpot CRM world, all those lead indicators you got of order intake, value of quotes, value of new deals, value of form fills, whatever.
And then 170 was looking back to move forward, lessons hidden in your business history.
Yeah, the first of our linked themes. Yeah. So we looked forward, so we looked back. Is there any merit in dwelling on the past? And we thought there was in some cases.
Well, what's the is it Churchill? Those who...
Oh, yeah. We are the masters of misremembered quotes.
Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it or something.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah. And there was the Kung Fu Panda quote that I strangled at the beginning of the episode. There is, I'm not even going to try and misremember that again, but you'll have to listen back to episode 170 to get that one.
There's another Kung Fu Panda quote, which is often frequently quoted in the Buckle household, but I'm not sure it's fit for broadcast. I'll tell you after.
Well, it was on Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's not, bad, but it's just beneath our...
Oh, I see.
It's beneath our
audience. You think it might offend our audience's
It's beneath our sensibilities.
Right, so we're going to talk today then about not so much just leadership styles, but I'm interested in the personality of a company. Okay, so leaders have personalities, and in fact we've done a bit of recruitment support in the past, certainly when Andrea used to work for us, where we helped selection boards of directors to try and appoint new directors. And we used personality profiling techniques, and there are loads out there, whether you choose Myers-Briggs or Insights or whatever, DISC and so on. And I thought, well, that's obvious in terms of individuals, but how does that affect the company, especially when it comes from the leader? And what impact does that have when you're planning a succession? If that strong leader, let's say, or quirky leader is leaving, what does it do to the incoming leader? But also, what does it do to the rest of the team? Because they've not only got used to working with what may now be outgoing leader, but the team itself could well have been shaped over time unintentionally because people who didn't like that style have left. And people who've joined and stayed do like that style. So the team has become shaped by what was required by the previous leader, and now it's gone. And if it's not changed like for like, what are you going to have mass exodus as all the people who don't like it anymore leave and all that. So I thought that'd be interesting to explore. We can pick up some famous examples just to help illustrate it. But I thought it might be interesting also to reflect on those insights profiles. So could you just do, for the listeners, can you do a little explainer like Rory, what's his face, does on the West is Politics thing? Whenever some tricky subject comes up, he always jumps in and says, let me just do a quick explainer for the listeners.
Quick explainer.
Can you just explain the colour wheel for the listeners if they've not
I feel like there should be some sort of theme music now played over this. Like, right, we start with fiery red. So there's four colours, and I suppose the thing with this is it's a preference map rather than a pigeonhole.
That's quite, we've been very sensitive about that. It doesn't say you're just any one of these.
Yeah, this is
you are all of them, but in different emphasis.
Different emphasis, and in different contexts, you may actually display different degrees of each of these colours. So the red, fiery red, is normally sort of leadership style for that would be commanding, decisive, results-led, often kind of task-orientated, get the job done, count the bodies later type of thing.
I love that phrase. Yeah. I don't know why. It's pretty gruesome, but
so they move fast, make decisions, that type of thing. Main area of blind spot would be the kind of can be a little blunt and impatient.
Controlling,
impatient,
demanding.
There's sorts of things there. So then you go around the wheel to the sunshine yellow. I could drop the adjective, couldn't I? Just the yellow.
Well, I guess if it helps people remember what yellow was.
So this is more sort of visionary, big picture, persuasive, high energy.
Great communicators as well, aren't they? Yellows.
Communicate, inspire people, future focused, not maybe...
Dreamers, would you say?
Dreamers, yeah. But can be a little light on detail and possibly execution.
I think they're the rainmakers, aren't they? They're the ones that are likely to come in one morning saying, do you never guess what? I've just met this person, or I've just heard this thing, and we should do that. And it becomes the great new product or market for the company.
Earth green. It's very... so supportive, loyal. These are the people that love team, put team first.
I wouldn't have said earth. If you had to pick a word to go with green, I would have gone more for like the medical profession. The green cross, meaning for doctors and things. It's the caring, the nurses, the teachers, the HR professionals. Well, some HR professionals. It's all those caring, people-focused types.
So trust, they're very good listeners.
God bless them.
Very culture-focused, but can be conflict-averse. Don't like confrontation.
Can't make decisions.
Don't like to make decisions.
Or consensus decision makers. So they're slower. Make better decisions maybe, but they take longer. Yeah.
Tolerate underperformance more, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then cool blue.
Cool blue. I'd say IBM blue. Big blue.
Big blue. So these are more
computers on legs.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, they have. They're just There's a Mac fused with a body. Analytical, structured, data driven.
I like what you did there. You got Mac in just in case IBM was promoting one. You got the other side.
Yeah, in case we get any complaints from.
But analytical,
data driven. Maybe sometimes overanalyze, so it can be slow on the decision making.
Yeah. So good explainer, and it's probably worth pointing out that, as you say, not only are they guidelines and we're all of them, people often sit in the gaps between them as well. So,
and I think one of the interesting things that they showed from the profiling that we did was that it showed you your kind of conscious or your subconscious preferences.
That was interesting.
So when you're kind of almost relaxed in a non-stress situation, this is where you would go to. This would be the balance of the four colours if you were just maybe at home or whatever. And then it did a more of a conscious one where you were maybe in a workplace where, for example, if you were in a leadership role but you're more blue, then you might be thinking, well, I've got to try and be a bit more big picture, or I've got to try and
get stuff
culture people or work the culture, talk to people, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Nurture.
So you do have this sort of conscious and unconscious, which you slip into when you're stressed. That was the point of that. So good point.
Interesting bit of context there.
So what may be useful to go through just to help bring that to life a bit, and this isn't supposed to be a podcast just on explaining the insights colour wheel, but in terms of where do leaders who sit with these preferences have great strengths, but also where are the warning signs? What might happen that's not good in that organisation? We're not talking here about their management style solely, but what does that have what's the knock-on impact of that to the company in terms of the team they build, and especially thinking about, like I say, succession, when that person then disappears and is replaced by somebody different?
I suppose in a lot of organisations you do see there's a disproportionate, or how would you say, influence on the culture from the leadership, isn't there? So if
we say disproportionate, I think, to be expected, right?
Yeah.
The culture comes from the top.
Yeah. So the personality traits and preferences of leaders will no doubt have an influence on...
I suppose it's an unavoidable part of human nature that we tend to gravitate and want to work with people who are similar outlook to ourselves. But that, as has been proven many times, isn't necessarily the most effective.
Yeah, so there's that tension, isn't there, really, between... There's a lot of research around diversity in teams. That's very helpful.
And Belden started that back in the 50s, didn't he?
And getting different points of view and having people there to cover your blind spots and all those sorts of things. But at the same time, like you say, there's this natural inclination that birds of a feather flock together. So you're going to naturally get on with...
And in a social sense, you would. So you've almost got to force yourself to do a counterintuitive thing when you're trying to be effective, as opposed to just enjoying it.
So it influences things like the culture, influences things like recruitment. And we always find this when recruiting sales people, didn't we? Often salespeople, very strong yellows.
Yeah.
So come across very confident and extrovert and in the interview.
Good communicators, good at selling themselves.
And so you've almost got to kind of maybe dial. You've got, if you're interviewing, you've got to almost have this in mind and think, all right, do I need to recalibrate some of what I'm getting back?
I think they're one of the two roles that I found the hardest to help recruit for, sales directors, and the other one is HR managers. HR managers have recruited so many people, they know all the good answers, and they know the gotchas. Anyway, back to the plot. You're right. This is... Culture does come from the top. We do the birds of a feather thing that you talk about. So let's take each of them just to try and come up with an example, but really to talk about how that business did well or badly. Now, I think the caveat here is we don't know what these people's actual insights profiles were, but I think for the point of view of the discussion, we can assume that, we can guess for the sake of illustration. And if those people that are still alive that we refer to are listening in and are offended, they can write and tell us. So fiery red, I think this is almost what started the description of this episode when we were talking about it in the office. Imagine what it must be like working for Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. And those two names just jump out as typical fiery red types. Both got high expectations, insanely intelligent, to the point of, in Elon Musk's case, I think, some sort of savant or whatever, but intolerant of anybody that doesn't fit that profile. Very blunt and notoriously difficult to work for. Yeah. He's very sort of black and white about these things. You're either good enough to be in the company or you're not, and you don't get much time from him if you're not. And Steve Jobs, I think he lost his job at Apple, didn't he, initially, because he was causing problems in the culture because he was so driving it. It's only then when Apple failed that they got him back again. And there's an interesting point in itself. What went wrong there then? They wanted a different culture, so they got rid of the leader that was taking it in a different direction. But it wasn't successful. Was it just that he didn't have time to adjust to the new culture, or that the new leader at the time...
They had a lot of products, didn't they?
That was it. They were trying to do everything. They had printers and everything, didn't they?
And he came back in and slimmed it right down and gave it a lot more focus.
Killed off loads of products, closed departments down. Yeah.
I think there was a story where the first iPhone, I think it was the iPhone 3 was the first one, wasn't it, or something? That came out years and years ago. It was like but he wasn't happy with the way that the circuitry inside the iPhone was looking like. And so he stopped production to get that right because of his obsession with quality. Interesting biographies, the Steve Boggs biography.
Yeah, no, I remember reading it. I don't remember all the content of it, but you're right, he had a particular style of leadership, which clearly then you can look at what happened when he left and then when he came back again and then when he died and Tim Cook take over, and they've just had another change, haven't they? Yeah,
and I don't know whether with those kind of companies, how does that translate to an SME environment where perhaps you're more resource constrained? So a lot of good people want to work at Apple, right? That's on your CV, Apple would be pinnacle for a lot of people. So maybe you're prepared to put up with a certain amount of Steve Jobs. Yeah. In an SME world where maybe it's not quite the same.
Well, one person has a more of an impact in an SME. Is that true? I suppose in a big company, if they're a really large personality, you've got a lot more people to influence. But take the Elon Musk example. I think the problem that the company suffered from him wasn't necessarily his personality, because he was driving, he's done amazing things, the SpaceX and Tesla and all that stuff. But the fact that he almost got impatient, I think he outgrew his use of his personality in the company. So he started using politics as a way of exercising his obvious intellect and influence. And that's then what really started damaging Tesla in particular, and sales of their cars dropped off a cliff. Interesting, we're probably now 6 months on plus from when he went quiet. Yeah. He severed links with Trump, and I haven't heard a peep out of him in the media for at least that long, and car sales are recovering. So it's interesting that if you've got, in an SME context, if you've got someone who's a leader, is almost getting bored with the company because it's either running very well or it's got a good team, and they start maybe getting into politics or just involving themselves in lots of external activities, that can be a bad thing.
But it's like with Musk, though. What else? You must be sitting there thinking, what else do I do? Yeah. I've done cars. I've done vacuum-filled underground trains, brain implants to interface to a computer. I've done, space rockets. Yeah. There's not a lot left to...
Well, he still hasn't got to Mars, so he's still got to keep pushing that one. And SpaceX lost the contract for the, what do they call it, the human transfer system or something? The bit that goes from the lunar orbiter down to the surface of the moon. They lost focus on it. I don't know what went wrong. But anyway, they've now brought in Blue Origin. Right. Which is that the Amazon?
That's the Amazon
version?
Bezos one. But it's interesting saying that. So Musk, I guess, close out the red bit on this. But the Musk being red, I heard someone say that if you actually look at what he's done, all these, so they seem quite disparate. Yeah. His business interests, and yet they said if you actually join the dots between them all, they are all of the things that you would need for colonizing Mars. So you need the spaceships, obviously, to get there. Yeah. You need the solar panels, because where else are you going to get the energy from? You need the boring company in order, because most of the stuff's going to be underground to start with, and all this type of thing. You need electric cars to get around, because there's no fossil. And you actually think there's quite a lot of blue in there, really.
Yeah. Well, he's very blue as well. You're right. He's on the boundary of red-blue, isn't he? So, but is he a good communicator? I think he's got better at it.
He's probably had a lot of training, I would imagine.
So that's the red, and I think the lesson we're trying to draw there for the SMEs is that a lot of smaller entrepreneur-led companies are led by red, either pure reds, red blues or red yellows. They're on the red side of the colour wheel. And that is great for all sorts of reasons. Individually, they will know that where that causes problems as a leadership style. Yeah. But from a company point of view, if they only attract people that like hierarchy, like giving and receiving orders, almost, that very do or die high expectations bit, if they are then replaced or succeeded by someone with a different personality, and we know examples where this has happened, it does cause all sorts of problems, which were probably foreseeable if you'd have looked at it through this lens. Yeah. The people that used to like the old way and don't like the new way, they leave, and then the old owner maybe gets back in again. And
you're fundamentally talking about the ways that people work, the ways that people communicate, the ways that people lead, which has a huge impact on the ways that people work, doesn't it?
So another example then of people who can get a lot of stuff done, but for different reasons, is like a Richard Branson type, and he'd be a classic yellow, wouldn't he? He always seems to be smiling. Nobody's got a bad word to spell against him.
He's got the money. He's sitting there with $4 billion in private islands.
He was in Necker Island. But he's also championed changing, what he considers to be
he's quite a disruptor, isn't he, of industries? Yeah.
He's done everything from cinemas and Coca-Cola, obviously, to flights and other transport and everything else. So is that. But another example of a yellow type is Elizabeth Holmes. And if that name sort of rings a bell, but you can't place it, she's the woman that promoted the miracle blood test medical procedure thing.
Theranos.
Which would almost solve all medical problems or whatever. And for some reason managed to get people to believe it until they didn't. And then she got prosecuted for it. So they're yellow. So that's great. And I think if you work for a company led by yellow, the whole company will be very happy. And I know a company we used to work with over in West Bromwich that had a very yellow character running it. And it was all about how happy are we today. There was a little touchpad in reception that you had a happy face, sad face on the day, and they were trying to measure how happy is everybody. I think they even turfed their staff room with like artificial grass and it was all about company fun days and employee of the hour, weekday, all sorts of stuff. It was all very focused on that, and he was succeeded by a very blue ex-finance director. It's a person, very, very different personality, and it completely changed, as you can imagine, the how people worked.
Well, I think that's the Branson method, isn't it? So he's there, but I think even in his book, or one of his books, I think he wrote "Screw it, just do it" or something. Was the Richard Branson biography. And he surrounds himself with people that are just really good at doing stuff. So he's the visionary figurehead. And I guess that becomes easier as you become more Richard Branson, right?
Yeah.
Like you become that person. But he's surrounding himself just with people that are able to do those jobs. So I think if you're so he's obviously got that ability to see, well, I'm this yellow person, I'm out here doing this, but I need a team of sweepers that can come in behind and experts
and famously
to run the
didn't
companies.
get involved in the detail.
Yeah,
I can't remember if he's a champion for dyslexia, isn't he? And he says he's one of an enormous proportion of successful entrepreneurs that are dyslexic. It's an incredible trait to have, going by the stats of successful companies. But he didn't use that in any way to focus on detail. He let other people do all of that. Yeah. And I get the risk of that is you get so carried away with the fact that you appear to have the Midas touch and you're going around with all these successes that you overreach. Yeah. And you'll start investing in markets or products or new ventures that the detail would have shown you, that's not going to work as much. I mean, maybe that's the point. Maybe you've just got to give it a go.
I think ironically, you almost need to have quite a lot of systems to be the Richard Branson, to get to that level. Yeah. You've almost got to be either open to or able to say, this is me, but I need a system. I need some blues and some reds behind me.
But I wonder how Elizabeth Holmes then fell into that same sort of trap, that she found that she was able to persuade people of something which wasn't quite true. And she probably got a little bit carried away with that, or drunk on the idea that, my God, everybody's believing me. And it maybe without intending, I don't know what her inner thoughts were, but the storytelling she gave completely outstripped reality.
Well, I think she got quite a lot of funding at the start when she was still in research. And then I think it probably snowballed to the point where the research or maybe the product wasn't quite living up to the initial claims. And so then you've got to start thinking, well, do we either lose all our investors or...
So I wonder what people working for her were thinking, because they will have known that the claims being touted just weren't possibly achievable. A bit like people in Trump's government, maybe. Here he is saying, we've created regime change in Iran, and everybody around him know that that's not the case, and we haven't.
Well, they all get kicked out, don't they? I think that's the other problem.
In the first round, he's a classic case, I suppose, in sharp focus. That if you don't fit, then you're off.
You're on the bus or off the bus, isn't it?
Yeah, and so he created a team around him that were prepared to tolerate his style, and it'd be interesting. I guess it's different in American politics because everything changes overnight, doesn't it? They don't have the same sort of civil service continuum that we do in the UK. But nevertheless, when in 3.5 years' time, you get another one, how do they transition to what will presumably be a completely different personality? Can't be the same one again. But anyway, back to the...
We're straying into dangerous territory.
The yellows. Yeah, the yellows are great, really fun people to have around. Maybe not so focused on the detail, which is why they need good teams around them. But when they move on, and we've had this before, haven't we? We had a company we worked for not too long ago where the leadership team, the sort of three main characters on the leadership team were all very heavily dosed with the yellow, the sunshine yellow outlook. Some mixtures of other bits as well. Some had some red, some had some green. None of them had any blue. So they built a team around them with loads of blues, and it worked really well. Then there's a succession. They move on. New leadership comes in, and you've got all these blues led by a bit of a blue as well, and no one does the yellow stuff anymore. Yeah. So the marketing drops off, the sales efforts drop off, the relationship building and maintaining drops off, and then suddenly you enter this sort of slow decline. And once again, looking backwards on it, it was all quite foreseeable. You've just taken key ingredients out of the top level and not replaced them. Yeah. Greens then, Earth or
Green,
Dr. Green or Earth Green. So examples here. It came up with Starbucks' leader, Howard Schultz. Don't know much about him. Anita Roddick was the other one, which is perhaps more famous in UK circles, from The Body Shop. So very much all about, environmental credentials, looking after people, responsible employment practices. Not that any of those are exclusively the preserve of this type of leader, but it's leaders who make this their thing.
It was quite ahead of its time, wasn't it, The Body Shop?
Very much so, yeah. Yeah, back in the 80s, I think. She started her first one in Brighton, didn't she? And then grew to fame. And even she was, I think, ousted in the end, although in a very sort of sympathetic way, perhaps. But yeah, she was deemed to be no longer the right person to lead it. And I wonder now whether it's been taken over by more of the money people and
probably I don't know what it is.
But I think the problem with the problem. There's always strengths in these, and the great strength with your Earth Greens is that, once again, everybody is happy, but in a different way. Rather than it being fun happy, like the Sunshine Yellows lead it, and the relationship building externally, this is more caring. But it strikes me as I suppose it's unfair to characterise it like a bit public sector-y, because that's very inclusive and has very adaptable policies, and you know more about this because Saffron works for a council organisation. But you get the impression that they're very generous on things like maternity and paternity care and access and disability, openness and diversity and all that stuff, but maybe sometimes to the expense of getting stuff done. They're very consensus people. They don't like sticking their neck out. The pensions are too valuable to get sacked, so you keep your nose clean, and therefore decisions have to be taken by committee, and no individual can be blamed for anything. So that's the downside of this. So what sort of organisation, if you take that out and put that into an SME context, where everybody's checked in with first, and you've got regular reviews and appraisals with people and complaints procedures, and everything's everyone's happy, but you don't get stuff done. So then you change that leader, and you bring in someone, maybe the shareholders say, right, we've had enough of that, we're now on a period of growth, or if that indeed wasn't happening, and then everybody's thinking, oh, hang on a minute, we used to be able to get this done or do that or have that. And I think the danger here is that people get expectations that are completely unfulfillable. If you have a group of people working for an organisation that think that this is there for your benefit rather than for the customer or the end user, then you bring someone in who says, no, sod that, we're here to create value for someone, and if we do that well, we can take a share of it. That's going to really disorientate a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's good to have those. I think maybe in a bigger organisation, the green leadership maybe works slightly. We're probably going to betray our own colours here a little bit, aren't we? But I think green is very important. People are obviously important. Relationships in business is very important within the company. You've got to look after people, but it's you still have to get stuff done, don't you? In a larger organisation where you've got momentum and you've just got systems that drive things, you see a lot of corporate world will have a lot more kind of. I remember going to Unilever once, and the whole foyer is just full of almost like, how can we help you with your dental and your this and your that and your the other, but you can do that, right? Because you've got a whole system behind you that is powering and producing the profits.
And I think as long as it's consistent, that's the point, isn't it? The stated values have got to match reality. And I think the examples, the case studies we looked at, that Howard Schultz eventually was undone because despite promoting fair working practices and everything else, he ended up with lots of union problems on pay issues because he wasn't paying the going rate. And Anita Roddick sold out to L'Oreal, and that was seen as a complete sellout of all her values. She was trying to be non-commercial, non-profit maximising, and then sold out to one of the largest beauty brands in the world. So you've got to be genuine with this stuff, and maybe eventually the temptation is to stray from it. So last one then is the blues, the cool blues, the IBM blues. And Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, detailed people. Maybe even the Tim Cook, following on from Steve Jobs. More blue into the facts, very level-headed, but not necessarily the most charismatic. I remember Tim Cook's first stage appearances on the big Apple event every year. It wasn't a patch on what Steve Jobs used to do. But he's made it his own, and he's grown into it, and now he's off to the next one comes along. So what's the problem, if you like, then, with people with this style of leadership and the culture in the company?
Well, I suppose it can become very analytical and technical, can't it? So people value the detail. Maybe it slows decisions down. We've got to have all the facts before we can move forward, or we need to deliberate on things a little bit more, or technical expertise is valued over feels. Yeah,
and maybe it takes longer to, let's just have another review of the data, and can we collect some more data? It's that old perfection is the enemy of the good mantra, isn't it? That until we're absolutely sure, because the data isn't quite sure yet, whereas you might have your yellows winging it a bit. So the whole organisation then becomes quite risk averse. And so if you've got people who are more risk takers, they're more likely to leave and find a home.
But then I wouldn't say Amazon's risk averse, is it?
In what way? What do you think?
Well, they've experimented with an awful lot of different
I think experimentation is consistent with blue. It's controlled experimentation, isn't it? And they close things down, like the Amazon stores. Try it, didn't work.
I suppose they're quite ruthless with things, aren't they?
Very ruthless, yeah. And they were very ruthless in the early days with the way they fleeced the book industry for their copyrights. Remember, when they brought out the Kindle, they made it a condition to be listed. You had to give the full text of your works to Amazon with the rights to use it. And then they nicked all the copyright. Bloomberg had a nightmare at the time. Yeah. So, yeah, they were really quite nasty. I think they did some nasty stuff around the stores as well, taking on Pampers and people like that, the Procter & Gamble products. So, yes, it's ruthless, but it's fact-based. I remember they did a global search for who could manage their warehouses for them, including in terms of the software systems, and found that there was none. So they made their own. So it's that sort of ruthlessness.
Which, again, I suppose that's back to that sort of technical, no one can do it as good as us. Yeah. We've got the information, we've got the detail. Whereas someone who's more yellow would probably be thinking, or green, oh, well, kind of maybe there's someone we know, or there's a relationship there, someone else could be a partner with someone.
So imagine an organisation then led by a blue, who then that person moves on and someone comes in, more typically say a red or a yellow, and they just want to get stuff done and wing it a bit or try some new things out on a hunch. Then a load of people around are going to say, no, you can't do that. We haven't got the reports yet that prove that's the right decision. And once again, you're going to create tension. Tricky one. Okay, that's a good roundup. And what are we then, just to close out? Where are...
Well, it's been a long time since I did mine. I was quite blue, but I've probably gone round the wheel. I'm tie-dye. I'm a tie-dye.
You mean you're a rainbow?
I'm a Jackson Pollock.
Oh, I see. Well, I think I'm still pretty much blue-red, on the boundary of blue-red. A bit too controlling and high expectations.
Never.
I told you not to say that. With a strong emphasis on the detail of it all. But I appreciate that causes problems. Question then is, am I expecting other people to just adapt to me, or have I got to try harder to adapt to them? And that ain't going to happen. So,
sorry, Meg.
Well, sorry, everybody. Everyone that comes in touch with me. Yeah, that's the way it goes. All right, thanks a lot. Good summary of that. Thanks, Meg, again for the suggestion of the topic. And thank you to you for listening in to another episode of the SME Growth Podcast. If you think you've recognised the personality in there of someone that you know, then tongue-in-cheek, flick them on a link to the episode or tell them about it in the pub. And anyway, good luck with your business.